Nicola Sturgeon announced her resignation as the First Minister of Scotland following months of controversy over a law that makes it simpler for people to change their gender on official documents. Speaking at a news conference at her official residence in Edinburgh, Sturgeon said that she was privileged beyond measure to undertake the role, but admitted the time was right to resign. She said that there was much more intensity and brutality to the life of a politician than there was in previous years.
And the nature and form of modern political discourse means that there is a much greater intensity, dare I say it, brutality to life as a politician than in years gone by. All in all, and actually for a long time without it being apparent, it takes its toll on you and on those around you. And if that is true in the best of times, it has been more so in recent years. Leading this country through the COVID pandemic is by far the toughest thing I've done. It may well be the toughest thing I ever do. I certainly hope so. Now, by no stretch of the imagination was my job the hardest in the country during that time. But the weight of responsibility was immense. And it's only very recently, I think, that I've started to comprehend, let alone process, the physical and mental impact of it on me.
So after Jacinda Ardern, now another leader from the political world stepping down. Trisha Shetty, founder of She Says women's rights activist, is now joining us to help us understand what impact this could have on leadership across the world and what message is being sent out. Trisha May, thanks for speaking with NDTV. How do you see these two examples of women leaders openly talking about the need to pause and step down?
Firstly, I'm heartened that we see these incredibly powerful and impactful women leaders, not just women leaders, let me just call them what they were, leaders, be honest about their struggles and how tough the process has been, right? These are women. We have data and statistics to show that when these women led their countries, they actually recovered better from COVID than countries that did not have the kind of leadership that these countries did. So we have data and statistics to show that peace processes are much more likely to succeed when women are in leadership positions. We have data statistics to show that when women are in leadership positions, what is the infrastructure that does really well within a country? It's the hospitals that do really well. It's the education system that does really well. There's money that goes back to empower a whole community because, you know, women account for these things in a way that men just inherently don't. So we've seen, one, the impact that this kind of female leadership has had, not just within their country, but globally, right? The very image of Jacinda Ardern taking her baby to the United Nations during General Assembly Week was such a powerful image to women everywhere, to believe that you can have it all. You can be in the most incredibly high positions and also be a mother and also be a home giver and also lead countries and have impactful change. And through it all, now you see this news. It's obviously disheartening, it's saddening, but what we must do is confront what is it that triggered these incredibly powerful, resilient, impactful women to resign. What are the barriers that even they at the highest of levels have continued to face? What were the sexist remarks? We saw the news conference between Jacinda Ardern and the Prime Minister of Finland, I believe, where they were asked, oh, what did you two talk about, right? That very image where Jacinda Ardern said, you would never ask this to John Kerry and President Barack Obama. So they have been continuously subject to sexist questions, to barriers, to sexist attacks. And at one point, I guess, they decided it's best to resign. But I hope this makes us all pause and wonder, because we know the impact of having women in power. It's a damn shame for us all that we've lost this incredible leadership. So it is incumbent upon us to question what has made them resign. What are the societal factors? What do we talk about in social media when we talk about women in power?
So, Trisha, is women leadership setting, in some sense, more realistic standards of leadership, or will this honesty that they are bringing to the leadership be seen as a weakness?
How can you see these women with all their power, strength, and the impact that they have had resigning as a moment of weakness? Of course you can. But you can also just look at, again, I go back to the impact that their leadership had during COVID. It is evident. New Zealand did much better than a lot of other countries. The death rate was much lower. The economic impact felt across families was lower, right? And it should also be said, if Jacinda Ardern were to rerun, would she be re-elected? What is the popularity rate? The chances are very high that she would be re-elected. So the people have confidence. It's unfortunate, and we must accept that, when we talk about women in power, we immediately, they face the kind of attacks. Social media vitriol. We have data to show that women leaders face more vitriol than their male counterparts do. Then be it in, when they are actually at office, the kind of sexist remarks that they are subject to. So I think the only way forward for us is to continue fighting against these discriminatory barriers that we face, because this sort of leadership is too impactful across the whole society, and this is where even we need men to be in solidarity with us, where it's not just women demanding for representation. And we also need to talk about representation beyond tokenism, right? If there were more of us, there would be more solidarity. The unfortunate reality is, globally, only 21% of ministers are women. 21%, that's an abysmal number. Most of them are old men, right? So if we had more of us, we could have these sort of really systematic change where one person is not taking the bullets for us all.
Absolutely. Many thanks, Trisha, for joining us with your perspective on this very important issue.